Hey there. Well, I see the first level of court ruled on a motion on the independence question for referendum and threw out basically the APP's motion to just quash the judicial review of the question. And some folks are not sure where to go with this. The first thing I'll say is don't sweat it. Don't worry about it, guys. Look, they're going to pull out all the stops. The establishment is going to do everything it can to fight the independence movement, and they're going to lose. But we're in a long game, right? So now it sounds like it might be into November before this goes to review. I can't say with confidence how they're going to rule on that, whether or not the question is constitutional or not. You know what? I don't care. I really don't. We're not asking the court's permission. We're not asking Ottawa's permission. We're not asking anybody's permission except those of Albertans, and the only way to do it is through a referendum, and we're going to have one way or another. I don't think they'll rule it unconstitutional. Let's just be guessing. So this is a lay person. I mean, you never know with judges in our courts, but you got to think about it. The Clarity Act went through the scrutiny of the Supreme Court. Years were spent on that. And it concluded pretty clearly a province has the right. A question just has to be clear. And that question is clear. And, you know, that baloney on whether or not it interferes with treaty rights. Look, I've already done past videos on that. It's a load of crap. There's no treaty rights intruded on by asking Albertans if they want to secede. There's nothing to do with the treaties. But, you know, we should address some of the reactions. We carry on as we have been, no matter which way the ruling would have gone. And George Clark, he's been active in Alberta politics a lot, and he made a good point online, you know, speaking to this, saying, look, it's not necessarily such a bad thing to tap the brakes a little and slow the progress to the referendum anyways. And I'm inclined to agree with him a bit. I talked a lot about that even last spring when things were really heated up and people were saying, let's have a referendum now. Well, we won't win. I'm just going to say it that blunt. The support isn't there yet. Even the best of polls, there was one outlier, a real outlier, that said 47%. To be honest, I don't believe it. And even if that one is true, it's not enough to win. So we've got more work to do. And we only get one kind of kick at this cat every few years at best, at least for a referendum like this. So we've got to carry on broadening the base of support for the independence movement, organizing for when a referendum comes so we campaign as effectively and as, you know, well organized as possible. So having a few more months to work on it, guys, it won't hurt us. And then other people say, oh, but Fabio Lukasic and his little I Love Canada petition might get through by then. And then you can't have two referendums on the same thing. And guys, a few things. Lukasic's little thing, I could be proven wrong, certainly. It wouldn't be the first time. But the chances of him getting the 300,000 signatures he needs in now 2.5 months left, really, really unlikely. I mean, they've hit the ground. They've already hit the low-hanging fruit, some farmers markets and a few festivals, and they've rounded up a few thousand signatures, guys. They got a long, long way to go, and people can only sign once. So, you know, when they've eaten up all of the easy stuff in the trendy parts of Edmonton and Calgary, they're going to be still looking at a couple 100,000 more to go. But even if he gets them, we got to remember his application isn't the same. His petition is to hold a question on not a policy issue, not constitutional. Those are two different things. That's why his didn't have to go to the courts. That's why as well, because he wanted to pull the trigger early. His has the bar of 300,000 signatures, whereas whenever the official one, the APP put forward, gets approved, they will need 177,000 or so because they are different. They're asking different things, even if it sounds similar, and they have much different ramifications. Lukasic's little petition is a nothing burger, as was said in the court already. It's just a poll. It's just asking people, are you happy staying in Canada? Okay. Even if you say no, nothing changes because it's not a referendum question. It's not an official one. It'll go on a referendum, but it's just wasting Alberta government resources on what would be a poll. So no, it wouldn't bump aside the other one, which is a constitutional one, which is asking if Albertans want to leave the Federation. That's very distinct. That's very clear. That's saying we want to get out. When that'll be held, I don't know. Now, if the court rules somehow this November that we can't have that question, boy, we got some interesting stuff coming. That's for sure. But again, we keep planning and working as if it's going to rule that we can. But even if it rules that we can't, I'd be really surprised, because that's telling Quebec that they can't go either. And I assure you, the activists, and guys, I promise you, a lot of people think that the independence movement there is gone dormant or doesn't exist or whatever. It's there, and it's solid. And it might not be over 50% either, but it is active, and they will not put up with it. But you know what Quebec would do? They'd say, screw you, we're holding it anyway. What are you going to do about it? That's more the attitude Alberta has to have. I talked about that in the past video. What are you going to do about it? So then we switch from pressuring then on the referendum. The reality is the Premier can call it. So yes, that's when we start pressuring our provincial government more, saying, look, we're following the rules. We're petitioning anyways. We expect a referendum. Adapt it. Remember, the provincial government maintains the legislation. They can amend or change at any time. So we work that way. Now, again, when it comes to the patience thing and being realistic and being smart about this, if you really want to get independent, we got to get smart. Speaking of not smart, the head of the Republican Party, I noticed he messaged me just about not messaged me, but responded to one of my posts on X just about an hour ago saying, we have to rush this because 11,000 immigrants a month or whatever are coming into Alberta, and if we don't get it done fast, we'll lose. Guys, if we hold it tomorrow, we'll lose. He, with a 6-figure donation that came from somewhere, ran in the strongest independence riding in all of Alberta, and their crappy campaign got 17%. So his route won't be the route, folks. So don't listen to him, okay? Rushing into it right now is foolishness. And the other thing is, I talk about pressuring the provincial government. I don't mean by pressuring it by splitting with a bunch of idiotic independence parties that are just going to split the vote at best, but in reality, they only get 1%, so they don't even split much. But by getting onto the case of your MLA, getting involved in your local constituency association, pressure them, make sure they give us the right and the ability to hold a referendum. Outside efforts aren't going to help. All that might do is, if things take long enough, get Premier Nenshi into power, and then we're never getting a referendum. So let's work strategically. We already have been. And again, I'm not a member of the Alberta Prosperity Project, but they are the best group in the bunch right now. They are getting it together. They're organizing and having a few more months to build up their ground game and reach more people and spread this movement isn't going to hurt at all. It's a good thing. We're going to get this done. So we are stuck in a stacked game, but still we play as much as we can within it to start. So the courts, I guess it's got to go through that. It shouldn't have to, but it's going to. Hopefully in November they rule the right way. And if they don't, again, that's where I'm saying, if you want to put the pressure on the provincial government to make sure they say we're going to hold that referendum or we're going to honor the spirit of our legislation, what are you going to do about it, sort of thing. The way to do it is getting inside that party, getting active in your constituency association and making that MLA, or at least the association, even if it doesn't have a UCP MLA, know this is where you guys want to go if you want to support us. Look, this was the way it was done when Premier Kenney was pulled out from the leadership of the UCP. It wasn't an Alberta-wide thing that changed that. It was organizing in all the local constituencies that did that. You don't need to win the majority of the province to win the majority of the policy control within the UCP. You just have to take control of the constituency associations, and that's where some danger comes too. I've talked about that. I'm not talking about turning the UCP into an outright independence party, because that will bring in Premier Nenshi just as fast as any other movement. But just making sure they stay true to giving us the right and the ability to vote in an open referendum on independence. And I tell you what, I don't care what people say and think. If 60% of Albertans vote yes to leaving Canada in a free and fair referendum, nothing will stop us after that. Nothing. The courts and everybody else can say whatever they like. Clearly, 2/3 of this province are ready to go. They've expressed it. We're going to go. So don't sweat the latest court ruling. On a point of principle, I would have been happy if he just said, yes, this is dumb, let's throw it out and just carry on with the legislation. But you know what? It's not all that bad a thing to have a few more month delay to keep getting this game together, because it's a lot of organization. Thomas Lukasik, he's figuring that out the hard way right now. You look at the communications. If you want a laugh, look to their Facebook groups and watch them communicating. Hey, I haven't heard an email and I haven't gotten a response. Where can I go sign? Oh, we don't have an organizer there yet or anything. They're realizing you need a heck of a lot more than a few press releases, radio interviews, and some poorly organized volunteers to get a few 100,000 signatures. And they don't have time to get all that crap together. But the APP is getting it together. But they still got more that they have to. Or if not with them, find another advocacy group. Just don't waste time with the parties. But again, we're making progress, guys. We're moving the right way. Plus, our allies in Ottawa, don't worry, they're probably going to make a cash grab in Alberta pretty soon. Carney's proving himself to be just as incompetent as Trudeau. Nothing's changing. He talks and talks and talks and talks and doesn't bloody well do anything. Western Canada's, prairie farmers, of course, are footing the bill for the Liberal fight. Basically, we're trying to protect an electric vehicle market that doesn't exist. So they put the tariff on China, and now prairie provinces pay the bill as usual. Alberta and Saskatchewan take the punishment for the crap in central Canada to try and protect an industry that doesn't exist. So, don't worry, they'll build the support for us as well as time goes by. But we just have to make sure we're well organized to collect and mobilize that support, because that's the only way we'll win a referendum. So I wanted to get that update, the latest court thing that came up. One more reminder to everybody, there's going to be Alberta Day celebrations in Foothills here. Look it up, the Foothills Independence Group over at the Square Butte Hall. That's going to be a hell of a time. I'm going to miss it, and I'm really bummed about it, because that's my turf here. Clayton Foster and Lainey Luft have been organizing that. They're going to have music, burgers, speakers. It's going to be a great time. And on the same day, that's why I can't make it, I'm going to be in Mirror, Alberta. Chris Scott has an event going up there for Alberta Day. Actually, all weekend stuff's going to be going on. I'll be there on the Monday. Speakers again, music, vendor booths. And hopefully people are getting this going across the province. No more Labor Day. It's Alberta Day. Have a barbecue. Invite some folks over. Put up Alberta flags. Celebrate it. Again, when we're talking about the long game, these are the sorts of things we do to get there. So, things are looking up. It's going to be a great Alberta Day, and we're going to be independent no matter what our courts may think.